Listo.
So, this is a really cool opportunity. This is a composting toilet that is in progress. And so it's not quite done. But I'm going to review all my composting toilets. And so this is an opportunity to look at somebody else's because it's very different in its construction. Now, the first thing we'll notice is there's a stairway here you go up to inside, and we'll check that out in a moment. And then the poo goes down here in these chambers. That's an 80 centimeter by 80 centimeter chamber. It's nice if they're bigger because then you have more composting stuff to attack any new material. This is thermophilic bacteria, bacteria that like heat, and they actually produce heat as they compost your shit. Now that's big enough though because this particular toilet is for one dude, and it's going to take forever to fill that up. The other thing is he's probably going to pee outside most of the time because it's easier. He's not going to sit down to pee. I don't. And so he's going to have less of a liquid problem in here than some other ones might. Now, along with composting toilets, I'm a big proponent of pee gardens. And so I want a place for people who sit down to pee to have their pee go into that system, and that keeps this at the right level of humidity. We don't want it to be dry. A lot of people will talk about composting toilets and they'll call them dry toilets. Well, they don't have water, that's true, but they're also humid. And the thing is that the amount of actual shit you produce every day is very small. So it will take this guy a couple of years to fill this up. Now, why are there two? There's two because you use one for 6 months. This is the official line, you know. You use one for 6 months, then you switch to the other one. That one rests, not resting, working, thermophilic bacteria working. This one then processes itself into soil. You can then harvest that out. Now, I haven't harvested mine in years. It takes that long to fill them up. And now my chambers are a little bit bigger. But the point is, this will work for this guy for years and years. No problem at all. Now, he has metal doors on his. You see, one of them's been put on and the other one's about to get put on. That's awesome. Mine are made of like tree plywood, and they warp, and then animals could get in there. They don't have good locks on them. His has a thing you could put a little lock on it in case somebody drops their phone in there, and then he can open it up for them, and then hopefully they have to do it. He doesn't, and they can go get their phone. But that's just a good idea. Also notice that the doors have a screen on them, and that allows airflow to come in, but doesn't let a lot of insects in, because we don't want random insects in there. Now, I haven't had problems with flies in my composting toilets. I don't know why. And we're in a relatively moderate climate here. Maybe if it was a hotter climate, it would be a worse problem. And maybe if you lived in a freezing climate, there might be more issues. But again, it's thermophilic bacteria that produce heat. And so that's not going to freeze as quickly. But that's an outlying case. This is an easy climate. In this case, he has walls of wood. Mine are of brick. And one of the problems I've had is mine are very open. I have a big window. And I've actually had problems with mice coming into my toilets. So they like it because it's out of the rain and stuff. And so I would actually seal mine up a little bit better. And he's doing better with that. Let's walk up these stairs here and take a look inside. He's got these tubes here, and this is just like tubes you would use for a stove or something. And that's to let airflow go up out of the chamber, and that's to keep smell from happening near here. Because one of the first things people will think of when they think of composting toilets is, oh, it's going to smell bad. Well, it doesn't have to. I mean, if the composting process is happening fast enough and it's very active, then there's really no smell. He's got great airflow with this window. He's got an amazing metal door right here that is going to keep rats and stuff out. So this is better built than mine in several ways. Now, right now, he's just got two holes here. And this is where you would have a seat that you would poo into, and it goes down there. Now, his plan is to have a movable seat. He can move it from one place to the other every 6 months, which will actually end up being every few years because why bother? In my case, I actually built stationary seats because I don't feel like moving anything, and I don't like moving parts anyway. This will probably just be a box. I didn't understand the whole plan of how they're going to do this. We carved, in mine, we carved wooden seats that aren't quite as comfy as we would want. Now I think I would just buy like a stainless steel custom made, like not custom made, but like a stainless steel toilet seat, because those are designed for butts. They're designed to be correct. Mine work fine. It's no big deal. But you know, I want to build like better composting toilets. I want to make ones that are so cool and fancy that people think, wow, why did I ever shit in clean water? Because that's insane. So anyway, but his will be movable, and that's fine. He'll probably have some sawdust here, or something to dump in after he uses it, and that also covers the shit up, reducing smell. He could use for that tierra de encino or composted oak leaves, just dumping that in there. He could use sawdust, which I get sawdust for free at the local mill, which is cool. I can just get big bags of it. So I just get big bags, and I just have a big bag sitting here on the side I'm not using, and you could dump it in there. Guess what? I'm only one person, so I don't even bother. I don't do anything. Other people will tell you you could put ash in there, ashes, and that would probably work. But there's another thing I do with my toilets. It's a little weird, and I can't believe no one else has mentioned this as an idea because it's so obvious to me. But I put in composting worms into my toilet, into the chamber, and I put in dung beetles. The composting worms, because it's such a large chamber, this is big enough certainly, they can live at the edges of it, and they're composting and making dirt over there, and then they go as close or as far from the new material as they feel comfortable with, and they then compost that. So we've got lots of biological activity other than just thermophilic bacteria. The thermophilic bacteria will do just a fine job. But I like the idea that these worms are churning the soil. They're aerating it. They're making it a compost faster. Not that I'm in a hurry, not with my lifestyle. And then the dung beetles are those beetles that like to make balls of like poo. And so I found some on the road once, and I dumped them in there to see if they would live. And later on, I looked in there with a flashlight, and I saw that they were in there still living. So it worked. And those don't have a flying stage. So it's not like you're going to have bugs flying up your butt or anything, right? So this is really amazingly simple. There's no engineering here that's tricky. There's no plumber. There's never a clogged toilet. You get rid of all your problems with sewage. This is probably why it's illegal to make these in many places. It's not for health reasons. It's because they want to keep you on the grid. They want to make sure that you have to poo in a place where that sewage goes off to somewhere else. They want to charge you a bunch of taxes to process it at great expense, and probably chemical weird shit will occur. And it's like, that does not have to happen ever. This is the way to shit. This is the way that's simple, it works, and this will live for a long, long time. So this guy's doing it right. I'm going to give you a tour of my toilets. I'm going to criticize every single one of them. Let's get to the criticisms of this toilet. Let's go back outside. First criticism is that there's a stairway. The stairway is difficult for people with mobility problems, like problems with their legs, right? But behind it, he's got plenty of space. So later on, he could actually put a ramp in there, and it would connect to right here. And that same ramp could be used, because of where we're at, he could use that same ramp to then go up that way on his property to get into that forest. And you know, does he have to do that now? Of course not. He's a young guy, he's strong. But we all get old, and stairs are annoying. In my case, I had a woman who was in a wheelchair or using sticks a lot to walk, and it was very hard for her. And so I felt very bad that I had only a stairway toilet near there. Somebody had to help her get up there and all that. So the ramp idea is a good idea. Often you'll want to build these on a slope, which he hasn't done in this case, not exactly. But like we say, we can make that ramp back there and make our own slope. So it's really not a problem. It's just a design detail. You'll have to think about your land and where you would want a toilet or not. This one's relatively private, so it could be that if he ever built more housing or had guests, that he would even build another toilet over there. This is not rocket science to do. This is not expensive to do. This is a simple project that should happen everywhere. And I almost wonder if there should be an effort to make these legal, because they're actually illegal. And to have such an obvious, excellent technology be illegal is just colossally fascist, evil government assholism. So what else am I forgetting? Mice, we covered. I don't think mice are going to come in here a lot. Look, we can compost this dog. We could poo on this dog. The other issue, and I don't have it near in my toilets, I don't have a good hand washing station nearby. But luckily, right near here, he has some water in a tinaco, and so he could easily hook up an outside sink so people could just rinse off their hands afterwards. Not a problem at all. I don't have that where I live, but that would be an improvement I could make. He could even do rain capture off of this, but it's a relatively small roof, and he's got so much water right next to it that for now it's not really that worth it. And you know, he could put a gutter on it, but then he would have to have a tinaco or a tank to store the water. So it's just details, really. Overall, I would score this toilet as it's being built 9 out of 10. This is a really good toilet, and you could probably put one in your backyard and waste less water, because in your house, imagine how many times you flush that toilet and how much water you're wasting every single time, sometimes just to pee, which is just the most colossal waste there is. Good luck in your plans, and I want to hear from you. I want to hear that you have built a composting toilet. I want you to watch my other videos about composting toilets, and I'll criticize every one that I have, and you can make one better than this. You can make a better one than any one that I have. Good luck.